You're reaching for a glass on the shelf, just a little stretch, and the next day, there it is. A purple mark on your arm that looks like you bumped into something hard, even though you're pretty sure you didn't. It's frustrating, isn't it? That feeling of looking at your skin and wondering why it's suddenly telling stories of bumps and scrapes you don't even remember. It's something so many of us notice more as we get into our 60s and beyond, and it can leave you feeling a bit puzzled, or maybe even a little self conscious about those marks that seem to linger longer than they used to. What we're talking about here is easy bruising, those unexpected spots that pop up more often as we age. And I want you to know you're not alone if you've been noticing this. It's completely understandable to wonder why it's happening or if there's something you can do about it. The good news is there are ways to help your skin stay stronger and heal better, and that's what I'm so excited to share with you today. This isn't just about covering up those bruises or shrugging them off. It's about understanding what's going on with your body and taking some simple, practical steps to feel more in control. Over our time together, we'll explore easy ways to support your skin from the inside out, looking at things like what you eat, how you protect yourself day to day, and even some new ideas that might make a difference. It's all about feeling good in your skin, literally, and keeping that independence and confidence we all cherish. So, let's start with why this happens more as we get older. You might have noticed your skin isn't quite as thick or bouncy as it was years ago, and there's a real reason for that. Over time, our bodies naturally make less collagen. That's the stuff that keeps your skin firm and elastic. By the time we hit 80, we've lost about half of what we had in our younger days. It's like the cushioning under your skin gets thinner, so those tiny blood vessels, your capillaries, are closer to the surface and more likely to break with just a little bump. Add to that the fact that we lose some of that protective fat layer under the skin, maybe 15 to 30% less than we once had, and it's no wonder a small tap can leave a mark. Does that sound familiar? It's something many of us find as we get older, isn't it? But it's not just about the skin itself. There's more to the story. Your blood vessels get a little more fragile over time, too. Think about my friend Joan. She's 68 and loves her gardening. She told me how she'd be out pruning her roses, barely brushing against a thorn, and by evening, her hands looked like a patchwork of purple spots. She laughed it off at first, saying, "Oh, it's just part of getting older." But then she started wondering if there was something she could do. What Joan didn't realize is that those little vessels under her skin aren't as sturdy as they used to be. And even sunlight from all those years outdoors can weaken them more. That's called actinic purpura, those reddish purple patches you might see on your arms or hands after years in the sun. It's not your fault. It's just time and nature doing their thing. The trick is figuring out how to help your body bounce back. One of the simplest places to start is with what's on your plate. You've probably heard about vitamin C for colds, but it's a hero for your skin, too. It helps your body build that collagen we were talking about, keeping those blood vessels a little tougher. I think of my neighbor Tom. He's 72 and started adding a handful of strawberries or a sliced bell pepper to his lunch every day. Nothing fancy, just a little habit. After a few months, he swore those bruises he used to get on his forearms weren't showing up as often, and it's not hard to do. Citrus fruits, broccoli, even a baked potato with the skin on can give you that boost. Aim for something like an orange or half a cup of cooked spinach daily. It's a small step that fits right into what you're already eating. Plus, it feels good to know you're doing something kind for yourself, doesn't it? Another big helper is vitamin K. It's like the glue that helps your blood clot properly so those bruises don't spread as much. You'll find it in greens like kale or spinach, and even a little in soybeans if you enjoy something like edamame. My friend Linda, who's 65, started tossing a handful of spinach into her morning smoothie. Not a big deal, just a quick blend with some fruit. She said it wasn't just the bruises fading faster. She felt like her energy picked up too. You don't need to overhaul your whole diet. Just a little sprinkle of these foods here and there can make a difference. It's about working with what you've got and giving your skin that extra support it deserves. Building on that idea of giving your skin some love through what you eat, there's another piece to this puzzle that's just as important: how certain things in your daily life might be making those bruises more likely. You might not even realize it, but some of the medications so many of us take as we get older can play a role. Take my pal George. He's 70 and has been on a blood thinner for years to keep his heart in check. He'd joke about how he'd barely nudge the coffee table and end up with a bruise the size of a quarter. It's frustrating, isn't it, when you feel like your body's working against you? But here's the thing. Meds like aspirin, warfarin, or even some anti-inflammatory pills we use for aches and pains can make your blood less likely to clot quickly. It's not something to feel bad about. Those meds are often keeping you safe in bigger ways. But it does mean your skin might need a little extra TLC. So, what can you do if you're on one of those? First, don't stop taking anything without chatting with your doctor. That's key. But you can talk to them about options. Maybe swapping out something like ibuprofen for acetaminophen could ease things up if your bruises are getting out of hand. George did that after a visit with his doc, and he said it didn't stop the bruises completely, but they weren't as dark or as frequent. It's a small tweak that can feel like a win. And while you're at it, keep an eye on how you move through your day. Little things like patting the edges of furniture or wearing long sleeves when you're out gardening can cut down on those accidental bumps. It's not about wrapping yourself in bubble wrap. It's just being a bit kinder to your skin when it's already juggling a lot. And this relates closely to another aspect that's worth thinking about: how you protect your skin from the outside in. You've probably noticed how the sun feels different on your arms or hands now, compared to when you were chasing kids around or working outside all day. That's because years of sunshine, wonderful as it was, can break down the collagen even more and weaken those blood vessels we talked about. My friend Ruth, who's 67, told me she used to love her summer tans, but now she's got those purpley spots on her forearms that just won't fade. She said, "I wish I'd known sooner how much the sun was part of it." It's not about regretting those sunny days. It's about knowing you can still do something now. Slipping on a lightweight long-sleeve shirt or dabbing on some SPF 50 sunscreen before you head out can make a real difference. Ruth started doing that, and she said it's like giving her skin a little shield. Those new bruises don't show up as often, and she feels good about it. Another easy trick is keeping your skin from drying out, because dry skin tears and bruises more easily. Think about those cold months when your hands feel tight and flaky. Same idea applies year-round as we age. A good moisturizer with something like ceramides, don't worry, It's just a fancy word for stuff that locks in moisture, can keep your skin softer and less prone to damage. I've got a friend, Mary, who's 63, and she swears by slathering on a thick cream after her shower every night. She told me, "It's like my skin's not as papery anymore, and I don't see those little marks as much." You don't need anything pricey. Drugstore brands work just fine. Rub it into your arms, legs, wherever you notice those bruises popping up, and it's like giving your skin a cozy blanket to hold it together. It's a small habit, but it's one you can feel good about sticking to. Of course, alongside keeping your skin hydrated and protected, there's something else that can really help: boosting how your body heals itself with a few smart additions. You might have heard about collagen supplements popping up everywhere lately, and I get it. It sounds like one of those trendy things that might be too good to be true. But here's where it gets interesting for us. As we talked about, our collagen takes a hit over the years, and that's a big reason those bruises show up and stick around. My neighbor Ed, who's 69, started mixing a scoop of collagen peptides, about a couple of teaspoons, into his morning coffee. He wasn't sure it'd do much, but after a few months, he noticed his skin felt a little thicker, and those marks from bumping into his workbench weren't as bold. Studies back this up. Folks taking a small daily dose, like 2.5 grams, saw their skin get stronger over time. It's not a magic fix, and it takes a few weeks to kick in, but it's a simple stir-in that could give your skin a fighting chance. You can find it in powder form at most stores, and it's tasteless, sneaks right into your tea or oatmeal without a fuss. Another little helper that ties into this is zinc, something your body uses to repair itself. It's not something we think about every day, but if you're low on it, those bruises can heal slower than they should. I think of my friend Clara, who's 66 and loves her puzzles by the window. She started getting these nagging little spots on her hands that just wouldn't fade. Turns out, she wasn't eating much zinc. Things like nuts, beans, or even a bit of seafood can do the trick. She added a handful of pumpkin seeds to her afternoon snack, easy enough, and said it was like her skin finally got the memo to patch things up faster. You don't need a ton, just a little boost from foods you might already have around. Maybe toss some chickpeas into your salad or grab a few walnuts with your coffee. It's a small way to tell your body, "Hey, I've got your back." And this flows right into one more thing that's worth a try, especially if you're someone who bruises fast and wants to nip it in the bud. Vitamin K doesn't just help your blood clot. There's some neat evidence that putting it right on your skin can lighten those marks. My cousin Pat, who's 71, had a bruise on her shin from a chair that just wouldn't quit. She picked up a vitamin K cream, over-the-counter stuff, and rubbed it on twice a day. She said it faded faster than usual, almost like she'd hit a reset button. You don't need to slather it on forever. Just dab it on fresh bruises for a couple of days. It's not going to stop every mark, but it's a handy trick to have up your sleeve when you need it. So, as we've been chatting about, these small adjustments really can add up to feeling more comfortable in your own skin. It's not about chasing perfection. Goodness knows we've earned every line and spot by now, but about giving yourself tools to feel stronger and more at ease. Remember, be kind to yourself. Every little bit counts, whether it's a splash of sunscreen a handful of spinach, or a dab of cream. I'd love to hear what you've tried or what works for you. Drop it in the comments below because we're all in this together, sharing what makes life a bit brighter. If this chat's been helpful, give it a thumbs up. It lets me know you're enjoying these talks. And if you want more tips for living well past 60, hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more to explore. Take good care, and here's to making every day a little easier on ourselves.